Memphis, Tennessee, known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being the birthplace and home of the blues and B.B. King, and being the last home of the great Elvis Presley. Since the late 60s, Memphis was known as the best wrestling city in America. Welcome to Talking Memphis Wrestling, created by yours truly, someone who grew up watching wrestling from Memphis and ended up as an announcer, promoter, and owner of Power Pro Wrestling. Talking Memphis Wrestling is a show from somebody that was there and involved, who knows the good, the bad, and ugly. And I'm someone that tells it like it is. And now, the March 3rd edition of Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales is now streaming live on Fun Media at fun927.com and is always on Facebook, YouTube, X, Twitch, and at tv5wrestling.com.
Talking Memphis Wrestling with Randy Hales and special guests.
We are off and running. Talking Memphis Wrestling. Shane's in the house. Calvin's in the house. And one of the first people in the house is Randy West. I told him to make sure he watched after the countdown stopped. Now, Randy, that verbiage I used for the very open of the March the 5th, 1994 Memphis Memory Show. I just kind of turned it up a little bit. But Randy West, that opening was just for you. Thanks to backup from my friend Adam Dunn, who's producing this program. Hey, a jam-packed Talking Memphis Wrestling, wonderful, great, memorable moments from the end of 85. Also, great moments from early 86. We'll discuss it. We will also have video of it. We also have our normal pictures of the week, a loaded show. Now, this show has changed. I already knew that my buddy Pat Trammell is off somewhere, I think in Washington, D.C. No telling what he's doing there. Michael St. John had a work radio station problem he had to go fix. And Dr. Robinson had a death in his family, so prayers there. I want to say hello, of course, to Bo James. Randy West is saying hello to Adam Dunn. Shane's in the house, and I appreciate all those comments. Now, I think as we have a return to this show as a part of the panel, I think something has gone strange with this dude. Things have changed with this dude. He is rocking and rolling a new look, and as he prepares to return on the March 3rd edition of Talking Memphis Wrestling Loaded Show today, bring in here panel member and assistant superintendent of the Southside School System in the middle, not the middle, the end of basketball season. He's a busy man. Let's bring in and welcome back to the show a new look version of Chris Ellis. Hey, Coach.
Hey, all right. Great to be back. Hey to Randy. Hey to Dave, Al, Bo James, PJ. Great to be back on. I was making a joke before we came on. I lost the hair match, so here I am in my bald headed. When you get old, it starts falling out, so I just decided to cut it off. So I'm good. I'm liking it. When I referee, the sweat just runs off my head, gets in my eyes. So now I have an excuse not to be able to see.
Yeah, that's good, referee. None of y'all can see. What are you talking about, boy?
That's
None
what
of
they
you
tell
can
us.
see.
That's what they tell us, that none of us can see. I'm excited about this show today because in 1985 is when I had my car wreck, and I just gotten home. I was in Memphis for 36 days in the hospital. I got home in November, and so all I did that December and all that next year pretty much was watch wrestling and do. If anybody out there, the older people can remember VCR, I VCR'd all the wrestling I could from different places. And of course, what we're going to do today was a hot deal, and it's going to be fun to reminisce. And Randy West was a big part of all this, I would assume.
You assume right. Now, does that consist of your first take, or we haven't seen you in a while? Do you have anything you'd like to
Oh,
start
yeah.
with?
No, more on my first take. You mentioned basketball. If you like high school basketball, this week and next week are the prime time. Now, I'm involved in training and observing officials, but basketball, there's nothing better than this time of year in basketball. Every night there's games, and loser goes home. Loser leaves town every night. Loser leaves town every night this time of year. So it's a lot of fun being in the gyms and watching games and watching the excitement, because a lot of that games down to the wire. So if you love high school or college sports, the next 6 weeks are a lot of fun.
That is cool. Adam put up Greg's last comment. He says his 61st birthday, so he's 3 behind me, starts in about 5 hours at midnight. So happy stinking freaking birthday to Greg. Now, we'll get right into the heart of the matter. But I think before we go with this first match that we're going to show, I need to do a little setup for this deal. Now, the first Lawler Dundee loser leave town match, June 1983. Shortly after that, Dundee ended up for a couple of year run booking Bill Watts Mid-South Wrestling. Basically, he took Memphis talent like the Rock and Roll and the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette and others. He used the ideas that he had watched or came up with in Memphis, and he did record business for Mid-South Wrestling. Now, he returned as booker to Memphis in October of 1985. October of 1985, replacing Tom Renesto, the legendary assassin Tom Renesto, replacing him as the booker. And he came in, and one of the things that he was told by Jerry Jarrett was, Bill, you've been gone for 3 years. How could they have missed you if you never left? They couldn't have. Here's the thing with Jerry Lawler. How can you miss him? He's been here since 1972. So they came up with a loser leave town match that they were going to do. And they made it exciting. They made it big stipulation. It was taking place on December the 30th, 1985. It was a sellout. It was loser leave town, and it was also loser leave town for Dundee and Lawler both, but Lawler's hair was at stake in that match, and Bill Dundee's wife's hair. So Lawler's hair was not at stake. Loser leave town on his part, but Dundee's wife and Dundee leaving town was the stipulation on that side of the coin. Now, before we go to that video, Chris, did that make sense? Is your memories coming back to you? You got
100%. I recall it very, very well. I recall it all happening very well. And you're right. Dundee had been gone since June of 83 till you said October of 85, about 2.5 years. And so it's interesting they came up with how you going to miss Lawler if he's never gone. So.
Now, did you listen to the cold open of the show that I basically said in that cold open of the show that I can bring the people a perspective of somebody was there? And I think both shows these days don't have that. Do you agree with that comment?
100%. There's going to be a match on here today. I'm confident there's going to be video that I can quote you right now what you say during the match because I remember it that well because you're on the commentary with Lance.
See, that I didn't preview that. Now, we got somebody asking how long did Tux Newman stay in Memphis? That was 1985 with Tom Ernesto brought him in. Tom brought in Tux Newman, who he met in California. He stayed a month or two. It didn't last long. And I think we've showed some video of that from time to time. And most people don't remember. Rusty says, good evening. All looks like their birthday and mix how you are written. That was a great card. So I didn't exactly understand that. But thank you very much, Rusty. I appreciate that very much. Hey, we'll go to the Mid-South Coliseum in good old Memphis, Tennessee. We'll go to December the 30th, 1985. We'll go to a 15-minute, 55-second video as Greg Wayne watching the show as we go to one of the classic matches and a great way to win or to end 1985. Here we go. Loser leave town. Dundee's wife's here.
Jerry's mind is not fully on the match and Bill Dundee exclusively. Take a look.
Dundee was a good heel.
Absolutely.
Lawler was the best when he was heel, but Dundee was a good heel. And I think it's because he knows the business so well, the psychology of it. He can piss people off like no other when he was a heel.
There's Beverly Dundee. Long-pleasing pleasure, as Corey would say, to bring you this match.
Who had thrown the stuff at Lawler's eye? I cannot remember that part.
Tony Falk.
Tony Falk. That's why he's wearing the bandage.
It's underway, and just about as we expected, it is just as brutal. Dundee has started right out. Lawler's eye.
Lawler's such a good athlete because if anybody's ever had something over their eye, it messes up your balance and your coordination.
Goes the referee.
And I get the gist of it, but I mean, for him to be able to cover one eye and maintain balance, rhythm, takes some pretty good coordination.
Of something thrown right in his eye. Dundee over to cover. The referee wasn't there. Now he is. Lawler trying to find a rope kick for it, but couldn't. He kicks out at the count of one. Dundee's hair, his wife's hair, Beverly, she's down at ringside. Against Lawler.
Chris, I don't hear me talking yet.
Oh, it's not in this match.
Okay.
It's in the 26 fall match.
Okay.
It's really good. I said I can quote you right now. And I can tell by what you say I told my wife one time watching it with her, I said, you could tell who his mentor was by the way Randy's talking.
Super crowd here at the Mid-South Coliseum.
There's me.
One of the most important matches I've ever seen. And it's absolutely terrible, Lance. I hate to be biased, but it's absolutely terrible what happened to Lawler earlier. Yeah, and it's such an important situation, and of course you got to believe that Dundee had something to do with it. He gets a 2 count.
Randy, tell me, were you in the office now?
No.
Okay. So did they smarten y'all up, for lack of a better phrase, back then?
No. Are you kidding me? No.
I didn't think so. But I didn't think so.
Lawler missing, takes the right hand. His perception off, and Dundee not making it any easier.
And Lance just mentioned his perception. It really is amazing. I mean, if he can't really see out that eye, people who've never dealt with that, it's difficult.
Pat Rose was on that card. He's watching tonight. He was at ringside. Haymaker on one side, Hills on the other. This happened June 6, 1983. As well for the first loser leads down. They're doing it again, and it works into the finish.
Pat teamed with Bill, and then he teamed with somebody else back in that era.
Tom Pritchard.
Tom Pritchard, yeah.
With Sherry Martell as the manager.
Yeah.
Referee trying to pull his hand off. Remember, it's a no disqualification match.
Just everybody watching, and Chris, just pay attention to the intensity of the audience.
You know, the heels and the faces being on opposite sides is a good kind of synopsis of that crowd. Because it was about half and half. Wouldn't you say, Dundee and Lawler?
No.
No?
No.
Not at this stage? You wouldn't think it was?
Not at all.
Okay.
Shane, because they wanted his wife's hair bald. You know how people, Shane asked the question, do you think that Dundee and King team, were they better enemies or tag team partners, even though they were great tag team partners and held the World Tag Team AWA titles? They didn't do it a whole lot. Of course, if people are concession saying, well, I'm not saying they never did. I think they were the best in. That's what I think. Don't you, Chris?
100%. The best feud in Memphis history with a gap between number two, I think, without question.
Rusty says he first seen Pat Rose in the AWA. That's interesting. Pat Rose, you're watching the show. I don't remember you being in the AWA. But I'm old and I've done drugs in the past 40 years ago, but my memories sometimes go. This intensity is amazing, Chris.
Agree. They worked with each other and looked like they were killing each other, and the people fed off of that.
Slams his head into the top turnbuckle.
And notice how long this match has been going on, and it's been all Dundee and all Lawler selling.
Calhoun checking the eye.
Don't you think the best workers are the best sellers?
A long time before he even thinks about not the foot
Randy,
on the
is
rope.
that something you believe?
Before he ever thinks about
How about
stopping
that?
this one.
Never really thought of it, but usually the best workers can do it all, so that makes sense, absolutely.
There is no stopping of the match. Let me put it.
Listen to the best in Lance
He
Russell,
may want to.
doing a
But that's
great
one of the
job.
Stipulations.
Sell-out crowd,
Dundee off the rope, slams down
11,300
Lawler.
people at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. This, again, was December the 30th, 1985 at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee.
The first 6.5 minutes has been all Bill Dundee. Dundee biting him now.
6.5 minutes.
Real quick on the card that night, Billy Joe Travis beat the Spoiler, Tracy Smothers beat Tony Falk, Tojo Yamamoto beat Tom, Ernesto Jr., Coco Ware beat Pat Rose, the Fantastics beat the Blues Runners, who would later become the Sting and the Ultimate Warrior. Rick Casey beat Dutch Mantel, and the final match, Lawler Dundee, it was 22 minutes and 42 seconds.
Hey, Randy, you mentioned Rick Casey. Why did he change names in the middle of his run in Memphis?
I have no idea. I wonder that as well.
That was interesting because, like, usually they leave and come back, maybe a different thing, but he did it while he was there.
From the outside, from the top rope, coming down, nails Lawler with both hands.
I love the selling and the heat part of this match. Now, I'm beating that to death as I keep bringing it up, but as we watch this, this is something you never see anymore. And this, as you see, probably 8 or 9 minutes in, Lawler's bandage, Lawler blinded, and he is getting his butt kicked. Randy West, you remember this match, buddy?
Randy, you don't ever see him work an injury, an injured knee or injured anything anymore. That doesn't happen.
No. Now the people still in it because they know Lawler's not going to quit. And now, boom.
The people jump up in the background there.
Yes, Richard, that's what we were just talking about. Rick Hasty and Wendell Cooley being the same person.
We'll be back with more action coming up in just a moment.
This is a two-part match as Lawler. I love that bump. I'm talking about Stalin. That's just fantastic.
So, Randy, they always worked out of the ring on the announcer table side. By design, I'm assuming.
Sometimes they want it to the other side.
Did they?
Many times.
He breaks the count by getting back in that ring.
I remember Savage pile driving Ricky Morton through that table. Lawler and Dundee's get on that table.
Hey, Rusty says no one wants a slow build kind of match anymore. How do you know they don't want it? Because they never give it to them. This is awesome back here. Watch this. Let's Lance describe this, please.
Now, how are y'all seeing this, Randy? Monitors or?
No, standing up.
Standing up, okay.
Back up on the stands. The referee.
Watch this.
Yeah, this was amazing to see right here. I remember this.
Dundee after Lawler. Over that side rail, down onto the concrete.
Next to him getting hit by the car by Gilbert, that's the other time I thought he was really hurt. Right there. That's a long fall.
Very impressive. Hey, Adam, I don't want to lose a spot. Can you stop this real quick and keep it in the same place?
Dundee is bringing the referee back. He's going to make the referee count.
I guess not. All right. He was able to do it. A couple of things I want to cover. First of all, Shane says the thing I like is the crowd noise. It's not piped in like today. So that's a good point. That's real noise. That's a real crowd, and that's so authentic. The other comment that I want to call out to is my buddy. As I said, I was there. Another person that was there was Randy West. And Randy made a comment that's, I think it's obvious to people watching this match. A lot of stiff working in this match. Randy West says a lot of stiff working in this match because they want to draw money. They had a sellout, so they had the money, and they wanted to satisfy their audience. It's very important. This is December 30th, 1985. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling. Adam Dunn producing. Chris Ellis with us. I'm Randy Hills, and we'll go back to this December 30th, 85, Lose Your Leaf.
Dundee sinks to the floor. And the referee starts the 10 count. Here comes Lawler back to the ring. He rolls to the apron. And Dundee kicks him back out on the floor. But he's about run out of it. Slams Jerry's head down on the table. Unbelievable there. Either one of them still moving, particularly Lawler. Having gone over that rail, he was 8-9 feet in the air. Dundee drilled him with a right. Lawler staggering. And Dundee slams him into the ring post. Billy hops back in the ring. Lawler trying to pull himself up into the ring.
You have to be in tough and in physical condition to do this for this long.
You ain't aligned.
Beverly Dundee up on her feet. She is, I said.
Look at these punches. This is what pro wrestling's all about. Look at Lawler's facial expression, people. Look at that. Tell me anybody in wrestling does that. Tell me anybody in wrestling that lays those punches in like you're seeing now. Boom. Listen to the crowd at a packed Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee.
On the deck goes Dundee, and Lawler falls down at the exertion.
Over 11,000 people at the Mid-South Coliseum. The Hills, the baby faces.
Incredible.
You see Beverly Dundee at ringside. Her hair at stake.
These guys are absolutely attempting to annihilate each other.
Attempting to annihilate each other.
Almost 22 minutes gone. Lawler pounding away on Dundee. Lawler with everything he had left.
Here we go. Here we go.
Beverly's over there saying, "Come on, Billy. Come on, Billy."
Tony Falk passed
was up
something.
there by him. Dundee threw something at him. 1, 2, 3, and Lawler has lost it.
A lot of shocked fans in that building.
The winner, Bill Dundee.
And the Hills, Dundee did exactly what they're trained to do after a hot finish. What did they do, Chris?
Get out of the arena.
Got the hell out of Dodge. They got the hell out of Dodge. Remember in the cage match, Idol and Lawler, they were afraid to get out of the ring. Well, the heat festered so bad, they barely got out alive.
Right.
So quick comments about what we just saw, other than I think we both discussed it pretty good, but watching it, December 85 to now, that's been a long time ago, Chris. This is 2026. That's been a long time ago. Your thoughts to sum it up.
I'd say two things. If we got anybody out there watching that wasn't around back then, folks, that was wrestling. That's the epitome of wrestling. That is excellence. And then the other thing I'd call it is a work of art. I mean, it was just a master class on how to execute a wrestling match, and the fans were on the edge of their seat. Obviously I wasn't there that night, but Randy was. I promise you, nobody was buying popcorn during that match. Nobody left their seat. Nobody did. People, and then the crowd was stunned at the end. Genuinely couldn't believe. And then I'll promise you, that was on Monday. The next Saturday, people turned on the TV to make sure Jerry Lawler wasn't going to be there. They still weren't convinced until he wasn't at TV the next Saturday that he wasn't going to be there. I bet money on that.
Now, pictures of the week coming up, but Adam, I'm talking to producer Adam Dunn. I'm going to redo our code open, so if you would back me up with pictures for that, I am going to redo that code open. And as I do this code open, Chris, I want you to listen closely to everything I say. And I want our audience too, because this is something I first used in 1994. I adapted it today. But here we go. Memphis, Tennessee, known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being the birthplace of the blues and B.B. King, and for being the last home of Elvis Presley. Since the late 60s, Memphis wrestling was known, honest to God shoot people, Memphis wrestling known as the best wrestling city in the world. We at Welcome and Talking to Memphis Wrestling are glad you're here. This show created by yours truly, by me, by Randy Hales, the owner, founder, president of Power Pro Wrestling, someone who grew up watching wrestling from Memphis and ended up as the announcer, promoter, booker, and owner of Power Pro Wrestling. Talking Memphis Wrestling is a show from somebody that was there, was involved, and knows the good, bad, and ugly, and someone that will tell it all. And there's not a lot of people out there that can do a show that we're doing today. And I'm awful damn proud of our co-hosts. I'm awful damn proud of the legacy producer, Randy West, of our current producer, the great Adam Dunn. I am proud, I am thrilled, and I'm glad to be here. And we have much more show. But your comment from, I've written 2 scripts in my life. One I used in 1994. I kind of stole from it by heart and put it down on paper. Your comments with the heartfelt words that I put on paper, but I say it from my heart. Chris Ellis.
Well, all right, you couldn't say it better. If you grew up here, you were in that era. I mean, nothing more true. We're known for the blues in our region in Memphis. Elvis, obviously, because Elvis's death was huge in the 70s, and then wrestling. And then today, I've traveled all over doing my racing stuff when I did 7, 8 states. And I just recently did a podcast interview. And the guy did a segment on wrestling on it because he knows I'm tied to Memphis wrestling and people that like wrestling. And they want to compare it, like when I race in Texas, Louisiana, they want to compare to Watts. They want to compare to World Class. And I say, look, get on YouTube, watch your shows, all that stuff. They come back to me later and say, man, we didn't know what we missed. I go, guys, we lived it. We were blessed. We got to live it every day. And thanks to you, Randy, in more ways than one, whether it be the Hall of Fame, you did Proud Pro, so on, this show, you keep that legacy alive. You're one of the last ties to it, unfortunately, because we've lost so many that were there. But you keep that legacy alive and going.
Let's put Shane Odom's question up there, Adam, if you would. Shane, I appreciate this question. It's a real simple answer. As he asked, Randy, how did you come up with the name of Power Pro Wrestling? I made a list of about 100 names. Memphis Wrestling, Memphis Championship Wrestling, Championship Wrestling, TV5 Wrestling, TV5 Power Pro Wrestling, all kinds of names. The reason I got Power Pro Wrestling was, and I had input in sending these choices to Brandon Baxter, my friend Brandon Baxter, and we both like Power Pro Wrestling, and we stole that name from a secondary television show that Bill Watts had, the B Show, to his Mid-South Wrestling, Power Pro Wrestling, and I really like that. I really like that. We went with that. Okay, the picture and discussion of the portion of the show today. Adam will start with a single picture of 5341. 5341, and if Adam can find that, he can put that on the screen. If Adam can't find it, I will certainly go through it, and then after this picture, we can go after that. As I thought I'd put it up there, and it is up there. Who is this, Chris Ellis? Without looking at your notes,
Man, I got no idea. I don't recognize him.
Well, you saw him when he was older. This is Ken Lucas.
Oh, Ken Lucas. I didn't cheat. I could have looked at my notes, but I did not. I did not recognize him. And as we've discussed before, I wasn't a big Ken Lucas guy. He's pretty vanilla to me, but you indicated he was a really good worker, and especially on the other side, the Birmingham end.
And he was a tough son of a gun as well. No doubt about it. And Richard Hood guessed that. The next picture is 5340. I believe that's right next to the Ken Lucas picture. Who's this? If you don't get this, you're fired from the show.
You know I'm going to get this one. That's Don Green.
Great Don Green.
I love Don Green. I was a Don Green fan. Although I would have been scared to walk in the appliance store and buy something. If I saw him there, I'd have been scared he'd go beat me up. So,
Mike Rubin asked, Randy, how did Dundee like Lawler? At times, because they made money together, they loved each other. At other times, they hated each other. We'll go with the next picture now, 5339. 5339. We had him a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago. It's a wrestling historian, Tony Richards. He is going into the Tragus Hall of Fame. The easy for me to say, the Tragus Hall of Fame, Tony Richard. Next picture is 0053. 0053. Two wrestling fans. The gentleman in the middle does my heart fond. One of my old riding mates, hundreds of thousands of miles. Usually I drive to the town. He would drive to the town. I would drive back where he and Jeff could drink and do the Fernum Durnum. Richard Hood guessed it. Thanks to Paul Neighbors Jr. Paul Neighbors Jr. for originally posting this. Chris, I was going to have you guess, but it's all over the screen right now. This is the French Angel. This is Lucifer. This is the Spoiler. This is the Angel. This is Frank Morrell. God bless his heart. Still kicking around the Dixon, Tennessee area. These fans went to see him. Good old Frank. Would you have guessed it, Chris?
Oh, yeah, I recognized him. About how old is Frank now, Randy?
Jeff Cherry and I had that conversation by text recently. Neither one of us know because Frank always kayfabed his age. I would guess, because he always looked older than he was, he almost looks like he did then, except not as big. I'd say between 75 and 78, a pure guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I was going to say around 80 because Lawler and Dundee and Valiant and Alt Dutch, they're all that window of age. So I'm just going to guess. I liked him as a tag team. Of course, I'm a Hickerson fan, so he and Hickerson tagged together. And of course, Frank was referee later in his career.
Later in his career, he was a writing partner for years of Jeff Jarrett and me, and with Wolfie D, and we had great team times and stuff we won't talk about here today on this show. Next picture, 5336. 5336 from the Wrestling Review magazine. We showed a picture from the Wrestling Review last week. This one is one from August of 1975 with the Bounty Hunters, manager Jim Kent, the fabulous Jackie Fargo, and it says, Fargo vows revenge. I'm bringing in my brother Nuthouse. The Nuthouse is Jackie's own brother, and he's coming for the Bounty Hunters. A family feud turns violent at the Nashville Fairgrounds and all over the territory. Brace for chaos. The Bounty Hunters laugh. For now, who can stop the Nuthouse? Well, they couldn't, and that's a classic picture. Real quick, brief comment reply from this magazine cover.
Oh, that's great. That's great promotion. Whoever come up with that idea, especially in that era. Of course, Sonny was the referee in Mid-Atlantic, but we didn't know that back then because you didn't get Mid-Atlantic TV. He only came in for special occasions, but it always was a huge crowd when he did. I always liked the Bounty Hunters. Jimmy Kent, I could take or leave, but I always liked the Bounty Hunters as a tag team. Thought they were legit.
No doubt about it. And we are going to the next slide. And this slide was the start of the television career of a legend in Memphis television. Go back to the 70s. Go back to Channel 13. Picture yourself. I will picture myself. And Chris, you picture yourself at 11 o'clock in the morning in the summer, watching Channel 13 at 9 o'clock in the morning. The Dialing for Dollars movie. Dialing for Dollars, hosted by Dave Brown. And certainly, obviously, at that point, Dave had done wrestling for a few years. But between the wrestling work and the Dialing for Dollars work, he became the weather guy for Channel 13, and he went Crazy Gale to Channel 5, and the rest is history. Chris, your quick memories of Dialing for Dollars with Dave Brown.
Well, I look back on that now and I see that picture because I remember it as a kid and me and my sister thinking, what if they ever call us? But when you look in that big old vat over there of people's names and phone numbers, and you think about the Memphis TV area, it was a 1 in a gazillion chance he was going to call us. But we were always excited because you had to watch him come on and know the count, down or up, whatever the number was, and the amount. Now, we always dream like nowadays it'd be like winning the lottery, but back then it was exciting.
All right. Dave Brown Dialing for Dollars. Our next picture is 5288, followed by 5285. 5288 is a young Bobby Eaton, and I believe that's Nick Goulas beside him at a TV taping in the Goulas Welch area. And then we will show a tag team that I'd never seen, but this is no Coco Ware, Sweet Brown Sugar, and Bobby Eaton. This is George Goulas and Bobby Eaton, the Jet Set. Comments on Bobby Eaton and the tag team of the Jet Set.
Well, I never saw them together. Obviously, I've heard the stories about George Goulas, But there was a thing on Twitter Ricky Morton put up about Bobby yesterday or day before, and I actually tagged you and MSJ on it, talking about how great Bobby was. And you always hear the stories of how great Bobby was. Great worker, great guy. I think it's great to be held in that regard by your peers. I think it speaks volumes about him.
5286 is the next picture on Talking Memphis Wrestling, March 3rd edition. This is Mr. Wrestling number 2, unless it's Pat Rose, but I think this is Mr. Wrestling number 2, Johnny Walker. Next picture, let's go right after that, and I need help with this one. This is a very young Jimmy Golden. I think this is Alabama Governor Wallace. Am I right?
You would be correct. That's
George,
Jimmy Golden and Governor George Wallace.
Tell the people that's not familiar with George Wallace that toward the end of his career, tell them what happened to him.
Well, he didn't want to integrate. He was against integration.
But what happened to him physically?
Oh, that I don't know. I can't recall.
He got shot.
What?
He got shot.
Oh, George Wallace got shot. I didn't remember that.
I could be wrong on that. If somebody could confirm that, Adam, do you know? But anyway, that's Jimmy Golden, and that's Governor George Wallace. That's for sure, as Richard saying, yes, that is true. And Richard also says that he ended up in a wheelchair. So I was correct on that. I outsmarted the educator today, Chris.
Yeah, I don't recall that. But one reason I recalled the first part is in Alabama, Coach Bryant had such power that when they lost to USC in 1973, if my memory serves me, it may have been earlier than that, may have been 70, Sam Cunningham ran all over them for USC, African-American running back. And Governor Wallace didn't want to integrate the universities, and Coach Bryant insisted that they were going to have to recruit African-American players to continue to win, and Coach Bryant had enough power to get that done.
Let's go with the next picture, 5282, two of the toughest brawls that you will ever seen in the world. Dave says that Wallace got shot in 1972. The very next picture, Adam, if you could go ahead and play that for me. Two of the toughest brawls in history. This is Sarah Lee, Cora Combs. Sarah Lee, Cora Combs. Chris, you ever see either one of these ladies wrestle?
I'm sure I did, but I really can't recall. I mean, I'm sure I know there were women on the cards when I've been to different places, but I don't recall. I've heard their names, obviously.
Of course, Cora Combs' daughter, Debbie Combs, lady wrestler, and in later years, one of the matches was Lady Satan against Debbie Combs, and so it was Debbie Combs wrestling her mother under a mask, and I think that's pretty cool for sure. Next picture, 5280, is a little bit older. Does this look like the Ken Lucas you remember being interviewed by Lynn Rossi?
Yeah, that's what I remember him as. And see, to me, he was just a real vanilla wrestler. I mean, he's great physical condition and he can wrestle, but no charisma in my opinion.
Next picture, one of the legendary announce teams in the history of wrestling. If your TV was in a wood cabinet and Memphis Wrestling was on every Saturday morning, you had the greatest announce team in history. And that's the honest to God gospel, Chris Ellis.
100%. There's also a picture of this, and you had the greatest childhood ever. So if you were fortunate enough to have that right there, you did. You had the best childhood ever because you had Lance and Dave.
Our next picture, coming in from Jonesboro, Arkansas, the future owner, founder, president of Power Pro Wrestling, the creator of this show. That is a dark-haired Randy Hales. Come to me real quick. Come out of that picture. You see my hair now, people? You see my hair, you see my face, you see my age. Go back with that picture. I would guess this would have been in 87 or 88, something like that. A real young Randy Hales. Sticking with the Randy Hales story, 5238 is the next picture. And this was from, I believe, 98. Could have been 99, but I'm pretty sure it's 98. This is me losing a tag team match, hair versus hair. It was me and Billy Travis against Jerry Lawler and Stacy the Cat Carter. I ended up getting cheated, Chris, and right on live television in the first hair match that I ever recall on Memphis TV, I lost my hair. You weren't watching Power Pro Wrestling at this time?
I lived in South Arkansas and I didn't get the TV down there. So I don't know that I've ever seen this.
Pretty good picture, isn't it?
It is good. I didn't realize you lost hair match.
I wish I still had that shirt, that Power Pro shirt. I think Adam Dunn might still have his. Adam, if you could come in the chat for that, I think you had told me, and he does. I need to come to Georgia and steal that son of a gun. Anyway, next picture is a couple of years ago. I have gray hair. I was at a Jerry Lawler event, a tribute to Memphis wrestling at a casino in Memphis. I had my merchandise on sale. I had my pictures and my book and all kinds of things, and I made good money. I made good money that night. And a heartfelt photo to end the photo section of this show, as we have an early show today, just 2 videos remaining, but 2 great videos. This is from Huntsville, Alabama, the pride of Alabama, beautiful Bobby Eaton, and Bill Dundee's daughter, Donna, who married beautiful Bobby Eaton. And this is a damn good picture, Chris Ellis.
I did not realize, I never knew Donna, obviously, did not realize how much like Bill she looks.
Yes.
But she looks a lot, see, because Jamie doesn't. So she looks like Bill. That's crazy.
Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff for sure. We have Jeff Jarrett's intro into wrestling coming up in a minute. We have highlights of the 26th Fall Texas Death Match at the Mid-South Coliseum in 86. But we're going to take a break. We're going to reset the show, and we'll be back after this 15-second opening as Talking Memphis Wrestling will continue.
Snowbird's back in the Mid-South again with a word from Snowbird. He's bringing sound advice for school kids, and the Bird and all the gang will be on TV5 throughout the week with safety tips and advice for the whole family. Watch for a word from Snowbird 3 times each Saturday, once early morning, again during championship wrestling, and once more Saturday afternoon. Brought to you in part by Turner Dairies, Maxi and TV5.
Great stuff, Adam. Great stuff. A good choice of that. Now, we showed the match, the loser leave, in the first or second segment of the show, that Jerry Lawler lost the loser leave town match of December the 30th, of 1985. Now, the idea, if he never leaves, how can you miss him? That was the premise. What Jerry Jarrett didn't factor in as much as he should have is the territory, every town collapsed with record lows. Now, they said it was going to be 90 days or a year or whatever they said. They knew real quick that wasn't going to happen. They knew they had to figure out an angle to get Jerry Lawler back. We showed that return match last week on Talking Memphis Wrestling. We showed that, and that was great, but we didn't show to set up to bring Lawler back. Now, the return of Jerry Lawler was on March the 3rd of '86. The angle was shot on March the 1st with a new character on the TV show, a new character on the television show. This is a 5-minute, 7-second video on Talking Memphis Wrestling.
Big men they are. Oh, Johnson thrown over the top rope. Hey, come on.
Dell, it's just attacking the referee.
That'll cost you.
For some reason, we're having problems with that.
Landing. There goes Jameson out of the ring.
And we'll give the opportunity for it to buff, and then Adam, if that don't work, let me try to put it on.
This is Jerry's son that was refereeing.
This is live television, Chris, and things like this happen, so go ahead and get out of that, Adam, if you can.
Come on, this thing's getting out of hand.
As he's saying, it's working.
It's working for me.
Okay, I just can't see it, so let's watch it, and y'all tell me when it's over.
I remember watching this the first time. It was wild. One of the wildest things I'd seen. Jeff was what, 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, 18 years old. Hope our audience can see it. Can you see me, Chris?
Yes, sir. I can see everything like normal.
All right. So you'll have to cover for me here if you have anything to say, because I can't see it.
There's Dutch comes in to make the save, runs Dundee and Landell out. Jeff's hurt and Jarrett's hurt.
One of the great angles in the history of Memphis wrestling that led to the last record-setting crowd at the Mid-South Coliseum, thousands turned away for that event. And again, it's not moving for me, so I will have no idea when it's over, Chris. You got to.
They're carrying Dutch is carrying Jeff out. Looks like Dutch was in the shower. They have a shower at the studio.
Sure.
He came out of the shower.
Yes.
Like that's one of the few run-ins I've ever seen without boots and all that. Like he's like in trunks only. That's it.
Because they wanted to make it because he didn't immediately come out. That was to buy him a little credibility that he didn't come out because he was in the shower. I don't know if it was Dutch's idea or Jared's idea. It was to protect Dutch. That's what it was.
Now Lance is pissed now. Lance is talking. He's pissed.
You know, they're in there digging at his eye, the only eye. He's got one bad eye, and they're digging at the only good eye he had. Something's got to be done about that. It's sick.
Lance, I don't know.
So now Jarrett's come out to talk to Lance, got the towel over his bad eye. Or over his good eye, I guess, that they did do.
And he's crying.
Yes.
Jerry, you don't need to do it right now. I mean, hey, you did whatever
And
you
Lance
could.
takes him to the back
Come
here
out
in a
and start
second.
going after the eye. That's the important thing.
And just one of the, do you agree, one of the absolute most memorable angles, and started a career in Jeff Jarrett. Started a career in Jeff Jarrett. Just
I saw Jeff on his show with Conrad, and it occurred to me one day that it all started with this right here. Like, who knew where that was going to go from this moment? Now Eddie's out today.
Been in my family for a long time.
and he basically says,
He knows what to do in any
sue me or not, there's one guy that can take care of business.
Yeah.
that I've ever seen.
And this is one, and they did a phone call
One good eye.
interview there, and one of the greatest deals ever. I mean, it really was.
So how long after the loser leave was this, Randy? 2 months? 3 months?
but I know what to do.
December to March.
He's the leader, and when
Yeah,
he's
3
around,
months.
I'll say, what
Yeah.
you
So
gonna do, Jerry?
was
And he'll
Lawler
tell me.
working somewhere else
he's
during
not
this
here
time, or he was just home?
To tell me now. And
No,
I
he
know
went
what
to
do.
Japan. He went to Hawaii,
one
but
man
most of the time he was
that
just
I know
home.
of
I got you.
that I can put in there with Dutch Mantel.
Now, is he
and
business
they can
partners
take
at
care
this
of those
point
two
with
guys.
Jerry?
And that one man
They
is
were
He was
Jerry Lawler.
partners, but not half
I
and
don't
half
care
partners yet.
about the
Okay.
contract, Bill Dundee. You can sue me. You
He
can
had
sue the
like
company, you
30%
can
of
put us
Memphis
out
and
of business.
15% of
But
the whole
Jerry
territory
Lawler, I'm
at
gonna
this
go
point.
get him on the phone right now.
So,
and if I
Eddie,
can get
so
Jerry Lawler
Lance
to come here,
telling his
he
part
will
made
be
it
against
more believable. Now Eddie's
Dundee
saying,
and
Bill
Bell.
Dundee, you
Now,
can
I'm
sue
gonna call him on
me,
the phone, and
you
if I
can
can
do
get him,
whatever.
he
I'm
will
calling
be
Jerry
here.
Lawler. And so people were buying in because Eddie said it,
No big secret that I fell out
Sure.
with Landell.
you know.
Sure. Just a classic deal. But first, I want to do a little deal where I plug some Jeff Jarrett information because at 9 o'clock, and we will be out of this show by then for sure. We'll be out of the show by then or before, but we have a couple of pictures. And Adam, if you can show 5344 and 5345 right now, 5334 and 5345. And Chris, tell me if it gets on the screen because when Adam puts it up, because I I'm having technical problems. Do you see it yet?
No, sir.
Okay.
Just you and I just have you and me on the screen.
Okay. I will then see if I can find it, and it has gone away. Those deals have gone away, and I can get it back, and hopefully this will work. As I will put them back on there, live television, and that is what happens, people. That's what happens. And so, Adam, we are showing that tonight on CW Nashville, also on the My World show on My World YouTube channel. You can check out the Jeff Jarrett story, The Heart of a Promoter, a story of legacy, redemption, and wrestling. This was the idea by Conrad Thompson of My World podcast came about real easily. It came about simply because Conrad knew that for the first time ever, that Jeff was wrestling in his hometown of Nashville, Tennessee, his hometown of Nashville, Tennessee. That's another clip right there. And of course, the bigger clip, we'll look at both of them right now. And might be worth your time, Chris, if later on in the show or after the show's over, if you can watch that on YouTube tonight, it will be fantastic at all. And once again, live television, and I have an idea of what Adam is bossing me around about. I do.
So, Randy, you'll think this is interesting. I've never told you this, but didn't Eddie Marlin own Jonesboro?
Yes, and Tupelo and Jackson.
Okay. So when Jeff was he was a basketball player.
Yes.
And I was a basketball player. And when I met him, he was not a wrestler. I guess he came with Eddie to Jonesboro, and I met him. He was a high school basketball player. That's the only time I've ever talked to the guy in my life. He's a year behind me in school.
Real behind you in school, and I am out of focus, and I keep trying to fix it and not having any luck. But right now, I'm hoping I can see this. This is a 9-minute, 49 second video, and this is a Texas death match that starts with a little pre-stuff before leading into the highlights of this match. This is 9 minutes and 49 seconds. So Talking Memphis Wrestling, our final.
We want to talk to him, but hold on.
Here's my, and they show the clip of this match at the Coliseum. That's your quote I like. You're announcing.
Let me tell you something. That's a good illustration, Bill, of the way. Look at Lance Russell run right now. That's a good illustration of the way that Lawler and Mantell have been running from us. Well, let me tell you something, Lawler and Mantell. Endurance is our middle name, baby. If it takes 3 falls or 300, baby, Texas death match. Endurance is our middle name. And Lawler, one thing to remember, you might not make it to Monday night, baby, because I got you tomorrow night in Jonesboro.
Let me say a few words to my pal here. Hey, Mantell, I saw you down here on your knees like a grub, like this little nothing in the wheelchair over here. Hey, you think it feels, Daddy? Let me tell you something, Mantell. Let me tell you, Lawler, what are we doing? What are we doing? When you do this, we ain't scared of you, baby. We ain't...
Adam, if we can stop that, and then we'll restart it. Stop that when you can and restart it. All right. Now, I wanted to stop that because that is just Wrestling 101, Chris. Wrestling 101. And I think they did such a fantastic job with that. And what happened was that Dundee and Landale had their heat. They're building for that Texas death match. They had their heat. However, as they had to give the people a pop in the audience by having Dutch and Lawler come out, the people goes crazy. What didn't happen there? What didn't happen there?
No interaction. They fled. They ran. Chicken heels.
No contact.
Yeah.
No content. No contact at all.
Right.
No contact. So we'll pick back up, and I guess we'll just go right back through it and hear what they're saying now.
Lawler and Mantell have been running from us. Well, let me tell you something, Lawler and Mantell. Endurance is our middle name, baby. If it takes 3 falls or 300, baby, Texas death match. Endurance is our middle name. And Lawler,
Always thought Buddy Landale was really
might
good.
not make it to Monday night.
It was very good.
Let me say a few words to my pal here. Hey, Mantell, I saw you down here on your knees like a grub, like this little nothing in the wheelchair over here. Hey, you think it feels, Daddy?
I feel like Dutch is a pretty good worker, and in this match, he's the 4th best one.
What are we doing?
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Dutch, for getting them out of here.
Dave. Thank you, Jerry Dutch, for running them out.
For several weeks, much less for
The little things.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Unscripted.
Let me just say one thing.
Unscripted.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're real tough. You are real tough when you got an 18-year-old kid, or when you got Jerry Jarrett in the ring who's only got one good eye, or when you're up against Lance Russell. But when you get in the ring, when you have to get in the ring like you're going to have to do Monday night against 2 more professional wrestlers like Dutch Mantell and the King, you're not so damn tough anymore, are you? We're going to prove it to you down on Monday.
Thank you, Jerry and Dutch. He picked up a walking stick.
Oh, it's too late. Your part was already out. The part I liked, and you was on before the match started. And they came out hot early.
And again, there goes that table.
11,300 people at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, Randy West.
No stopping the match.
BC Emulator, I'll give him credit for second because Savage was better in my opinion.
I agree.
20 minutes thus far.
This match went 26 falls in 42 minutes. Try doing that, Chris.
They can't do it nowadays. They blow up for sure. But what got me in this match, and I mean, it's going to show it. Landale, I've seen Tommy Rich bleed. Landale bled in this match. I mean, I thought he was going to bleed to death. It's unbelievable.
He's on his feet at 7. Pile driver. And Lawler's
Somebody's asking about Dundee and Lawler liking each other. They may not like each other. They trusted each other in the ring.
Yes, absolutely.
If you don't do all that crap, if you didn't. This is awesome right here.
The 12th ball. Mantell gets it. They're rolling back in the back.
Randy, was that white fence there every week?
Yes.
They only put it out when there was really big crowd.
I was there every week till they started getting the real thing.
Okay.
Wild as we've ever seen.
unbelievable action, Randy. How they can physically go, I'll tell you. Lawler slashed by Dundee. Bill puts the table on Lawler and stands right on it, jumping up and down.
I thought that was really good. It's something you never see. Lawler's used the table for a weapon, stomping him.
And Memphis did a lot of never seen before stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, ECW takes credit for this. You know, Paul Heyman, I wonder where he might have seen it.
Wonder where.
Yeah, I wonder where he might have seen it, Randy.
With 36, almost 37 minutes in, as Lawler's head slammed into the Tiger's
37
table.
minutes in, and they're going full speed.
From having put Landell down, he gives him that short clothesline.
Dutch claims that Jake got that from him.
Dutch coming to life. The tag on Lawler.
Look at these punches, people.
Look at Buddy Stella.
Landell being rocked in the corner.
The timing and the rhythm.
This could do it. Beautiful shot by Lawler. He is nailing.
Buddy had to be hurting the next day, man. He had to be.
The referee starts the count. The first one to get to his feet will be the winner.
PJ said 37 punches. PJ, we appreciate you watching from Thailand tonight.
Tell. That's the 10 count.
The blood you were talking about we showed last week.
Oh, it was? Okay.
That was the return. That was the first match
Okay.
of the program.
Man. These boys, golly, geez.
With both of them down, that the first one who answers the 10 count will be the winner. The first one up will be the winner.
Never had seen this finish before this right here in my life when they did this.
Get to his feet will be the winner. They're both up. But Dutch was on top of Landell.
So what did they do the next week, Randy, after this?
I'll have to look.
Okay. I didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
I think it went down.
The 26th ball, 48 minutes, 57 seconds. The winner's Lawler. separate this action.
It went 48 minutes plus this afterburner.
Yeah. I don't know. Longest match nowadays probably goes what, 15 or 20?
That's a long match these days. And by the way, the attendance the next 8 weeks is not listed.
Okay. I'm just curious. I mean, I knew it went down, but I didn't know if it like went off the cliff or a little bit.
It went down, but it didn't go off the cliff.
Yeah.
It wasn't back in Waller days where he was out with the loser leave town. It didn't get that way.
I got you. So did all the guys have to stay every night till the end?
No, I mean, it wasn't a rule. But basically, if you needed somebody and knew you needed somebody, then you would tell them they had to stay.
Did they get extra pay or no? No. Okay.
From Jerry Jarrett? Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, I'm just asking you.
I'm just answering.
I know. No, Lawler Dundee both talk about the big house in Hendersonville. So I'm assuming he kept all the money for himself.
Let me read that card at the Mid-South Coliseum that night on March 24th, 1986, 11,300 people. Frank Morrell defeated Keith Eric. Joe LeDuc and David Haskins beat Jim Jameson. Joe LeDuc beat David Haskins and Jim Jameson in a handicap match. Paul Diamond and Michael Lee beat Tony Falk and Pat Rose. Then Billy Joe Travis beat Abdul Gaddafi to win the international title. Billy Travis and Frank Morrell beat the Mod Squad, and Lawler and Dutch Mantell beat Dundee and Landell. And Jeff Jarrett was not on the card. He wasn't on the card the next week or on April the 7th, 1986, Jeff Jarrett had his first match, April the 7th, 86, as Jeff Jarrett went to a time limit draw, 10 minutes with Tony Falk. And then they left. The next week, they shot the angle, and it was Joe LeDuc and Jeff Jarrett beat Buddy Landell and Bill Dundee, and that's a great angle as well. Jeff's first main event, April 21st, 1986, Lawler and Jeff and Joe LeDuc, no contest with Dundee, Tony Falk, and Buddy Landell. So that's some Memphis wrestling history. Well, all right. We did our first take. Almost, let's see, we went on the air at 7, about an hour and 18 minutes ago. We're at the end of our show. And so, summary of what you saw today. Good to have you back, Chris Ellis. Your final take of the show today is?
Well, it's great to be back. Great to see everybody back on the show and the love and how much people enjoy the history of Memphis wrestling and what it meant to so many. That was masterful today. The angle with Jeff getting into the business and all that. Landell, as I said earlier, Landell was great. I consider Dutch, pretty darn good worker. And he's the fourth best one in that ring a while ago, in my opinion. So that tells you the level of talent. But they could really do it. And I miss those days. I wish we had more things. I wish that was more than memories. Wish I could turn it on now and see that. I watch a little bit of modern stuff, but not a lot because I just don't have the love for it like I do this. But I'm thankful we have this show. And, Randy, I'm thankful for you and Adam and all that you do. And just to be a small part of this is an honor for me. I look forward to the next time I have the pleasure to be on.
Chris, thank you very much. Always great to have you here. Miss Pat Trammell, Miss Michael St. John, Miss Dr. Rusty Robinson, and a big thank you to Chris Ellis for joining the show. And a big thank you to Al and Thomas and everybody, including Richard, that loved the show tonight. It was fantastic. I enjoyed it as well. And I will end the show like I opened the show. I will end the show like I cut in and did it probably 20 minutes into the show. Thanks to everybody for supporting this. Al Tuttle is in the house. Great videos tonight. And it flew by tonight, even though we are getting out of it earlier. Memphis, Tennessee, known worldwide for the beautiful sights of the Mississippi River, for being the birthplace of the blues, B.B. King, and for being the last home of the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Since the late 60s, Memphis wrestling was known as the best wrestling city in the world. I'm Randy Hills for Chris Ellis and Adam Dunn. This is Talking Memphis Wrestling. See you next Tuesday night. God bless you, and thanks for watching.
And paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.
You'll see America's favorite sport on WHBQ television.